It's one of the most complex malfunctions to clear on a handgun, the dreaded Type 3 malfunction or double feed. How do we clear it? Let's get right into it. As always, safety first. We're going to clear the gun. There's nothing in the mag well, and the chamber is clear. All right. Before we get into clearing a Type 3 malfunction, I just want to put out there that it's really critical that we understand the guns that we choose to shoot, that we choose to carry. We need to know how much recoil they have, how to grip them, how they smell, how they feel, how they sound. And I say that because dealing with certain malfunctions, we should be able to kind of diagnose on the fly what the problem is, so that if I press my trigger and it doesn't go bang, it goes click, but I see this from my perspective from behind the gun as I'm pressing the gun out, then I can assume that it's a misfire and I can go into the standard tap, rack, bang drill to clear that malfunction. But if I have a malfunction where my slide does not go into battery, that's a little bit more serious of a problem. And I gotta be able to recognize that from my perspective from behind the gun. I need to be able to feel that it didn't feel like the slide slammed into battery. Now, this may be difficult to do when you're under stress, when you're in the middle of a fight. And in that regard, that's why I would always say the first thing to do if you press the trigger and the gun doesn't go bang, it goes click, you got to find cover. But at any rate, we should be able to, just from our peripheral vision, notice if our slide is forward when the gun goes click and we know, okay, we're just going to tap, rack, bang. Or if we notice that there's still a little bit of shadow on the back of the gun, or the rear of the gun is obscured because the slide is not completely forward. Again, may be difficult to do under stress. I admit that. But we got to train as best we can to be able to notice that as soon as possible, so we can reduce the amount of time that it takes to clear the malfunction by identifying what the problem is. So that's why we got to train with our firearms to get to know them like the back of our hands. If we continue to train with it and notice those malfunctions when we're on the range, then we can possibly build muscle memory so that in a moment's notice, we can determine whether our slide is forward in battery and so we have a misfire, or if it's out of battery and then we know we have a much more serious problem. So what is a double feed? Simply put, that is when the slide goes back, but it does not completely extract the empty or spent shell casing that's in the chamber. Yet when it goes forward, it strips a new round off the top of the magazine and tries to push it into the chamber. And it tends to create a bottleneck between the new round and the spent shell casing. They look like they're at an angle or off track. So I'm going to induce a double feed malfunction using snap caps. Just want to confirm these are not live rounds. So the way I do that is to lock back my slide. I'll place the snap cap directly into the chamber. Got to leave the firearm tilted forward of the snap cap will fall right out of the chamber. Then I have a magazine with about a handful of snap caps loaded. I'll place that into the mag well. Now I'm going to release the slide, and I now have created the closest equivalent that I can create in a classroom using non-live rounds. So I have the equivalent of a double feed here. It's not truly what one would look like. It's the safest way I can demonstrate how to clear a double feed. You can see here that we have a dummy round in the chamber and another one that's halfway off of the magazine, creating what I call a bridge between the magazine and the chamber. So how do we clear this? Well, as I suggested earlier, first thing, I got to be able to recognize it. Once I recognize it, hopefully there's some cover that I can get to so I can repair this quickly. So the first thing I'm going to do, and both these directions are safe directions, first thing I'm going to do is lock the slide back. Now, next thing I need to do is drop the magazine, but because that round that's hanging halfway in and halfway out of the magazine, when I push the magazine release, the magazine may not drop. I'm going to have to rip it out. So I press the magazine release. See, the magazine is not coming out because of that bridge that round that's trying to be stripped off the top of the magazine is creating. So I gotta rip it out. I think I heard 2 rounds drop out. Most likely the round that was in the chamber, which would have been the spent shell casing, and the top round on the magazine that was being stripped off the magazine. Under stress, I'm not going to know that, so I'm going to proceed as though I am unaware that that happened. Because I do not carry spare magazines, I need to retain this magazine. And I'm going to do that by placing this magazine, which has my rounds that I'm going to need to stay in the fight, between my pinky and my 3rd digit, right here. Place that there. Now, I go back to the gun, and I'm going to rack 4 or 5 times rapidly to make sure that that round or that empty shell casing that I did not hear drop, I want to make sure I'm clearing the chamber of that spent shell casing. So I'm going to rack. Now, I'm going to then take this magazine, and because I'm not aware whether or not that round is still in the magazine, as a matter of fact, here, take a look at this. See how that round is kind of hanging off of the lips? It's not fully seated? Well, that's going to cause me problems when I reseat the magazine into the mag well. That's why, without even looking, I'm just going to flick. If I don't feel any resistance, fine. That just means that there was no round being sitting off the magazine lips. But I'm not going to take the time to look and see, okay, I need to flick that out. I'm just going to flick. Then I'm going to place the magazine back into my mag well. And the last thing I'm going to do is rack the slide, assess, and if I'm still under attack or I'm still under threat, I'm going to act appropriately. That might mean shooting again or pressing the trigger again, but from behind cover or whatever the situation may be. If I'm at the range, yes, I'm going to shoot again because I'm just practicing or training. Again, we're going to lock back the slide. We're going to drop the magazine. We're going to rip it out. We're going to put it in between our pinky finger and our 3rd finger. I'm going to rack to clear out that chamber. I'm going to flick, and I'm going to put this magazine back into the mag well, and I'm going to rack one into the chamber, and I'm good to go. No matter what the malfunction may be, no matter what we have to do with our gun, whether we're at the range or we're defending our lives, we don't do anything out here. As soon as we hear that click, we come back to our workspace, whether it's like this or whether it's back here. Nothing is done out here. Come back to here. Another thing I want to point out is how important it is to train with dry fire using snap caps, dummy rounds. And also, if you want to train the double feed, clearing a double feed, I highly recommend going to Amazon, and if you search on double feed training or double feed malfunction, you'll find this device right here, this product by Live Fire Training LLC. This has fins on the end of the round where the bullet would be, and this prevents this from going into the chamber so that you get that kind of that jam up on the highway, I like to call it. This truly again is not really a malfunction or double feed malfunction, because your slide will pull out the spent shell casing, and when it goes forward to push this in, this just won't go into the chamber. So while it's not truly a double feed, it mimics it close enough with live fire so that you can do the drill that I just showed you to get this out, and you're getting the experience of clearing a type 3 malfunction, a double feed. You should be able to do these drills so you can clear your firearm at the range. But if this happens to you in the street while you're trying to get home to your loved ones, these drills could be a lifesaver. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you soon.